We just did a Halloween party for our company that shall remain nameless because it doesn't matter. But it took us about a month and a half from design, construction, and to performance to do it.
From start of construction.
Yeah. Well, then another couple weeks of just sitting around in conference rooms talking about it. So we thought for posterity, we would rip through a slideshow of what it took. I'm Scott Fletcher.
I'm Stephen Petrani.
And here we go. First off, here's the final product. There's me. Looks like I'm wearing a fat suit. That took a lot of time to make. It took many 12 packs of beer to make that fat suit. I won't click go. So this is us on stage. This is one of the folks at our company dropping a Plinko puck down. And of course, he won. It wasn't rigged at all.
In fact, he actually won both times. He had 2 pucks, one each time.
Here we are spinning the big wheel that we'll talk about how we constructed it, and some contestants on the stage doing it for the show. So what now? 6 weeks ago, we got some stuff on the board and we started drawing out we needed to decide what the games were. And this is Plinko. Very important design element right there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the objective was just to throw up all of our ideas and construction methods, and actually, I was hoping we'd have more information out of this meeting, but I think we kind of all had the ideas in our head.
The way every meeting
went.
I'm not sure we actually accomplished anything, but...
Yeah, my goal was to have this whole thing just plastered with ideas and basically a roadmap for how we were going to build it.
Yeah, a wheel. It has to survive 6 to 10 spins. It does not have to be very sturdy. So funny. So I had done a project last year. I had a lot of success with this 25 psi polystyrene stuff. So that's what we decided to use. Our creative department, including Mr. Petrani, designed all the logos and all the lettering and stuff.
We use the Price is Right lettering. If you want to go back, it's the exact same Price is Right lettering. But when I did some research, I also found out it's a popular video game. The Price is Right lettering was used for the Grand Theft Auto series.
Oh, sure, yeah. Makes sense. So we're not just stealing it from...
we're not the only ones who stole it. That's what you're saying.
Universal or whoever owns that. Yeah. So for cutting the wire, it turns out this stuff is the same stuff people use in vape coils when they build their own. So I bought this wire cutter off Amazon and started looking around the internets and found out you can make your own hot wire table. So
that turned out to be probably the best tool we had.
Oh my gosh, it was great. Here are some more ideas for the games and how we're going to do it. We had this idea for a chair that spun around, and we just...
That's right. We had this whole... with any idea, you have to cut stuff, and we had the whole idea of the execs being revealed by this chair, a la the Voice, I think was the inspiration.
We said, we have so much time that we could just do anything we think of. So sure enough, we didn't do that. I even had a barber chair in my garage that I salvaged off the side of a road to do that. So here's some construction of the hot wire table, little arm. I had a lot of fun doing this. Little washer. I get really serious. I get really OCD with this stuff. A lot of details. I find industrial construction really pretty. It's fascinating to me. And of course, I didn't have time to build a turnaround chair, but I had time to paint this thing. And here's the test. It's really amazing how detailed.
The accuracy,
you can get with this stuff. And it's just all freehand. It's nuts. But we didn't need to go nearly that crazy with it for these big sort of coarse sets. But so over lunch hour, I watched a little bit of Family Feud and some 70s game shows and sketched this up. And
I'm glad you sketched it up, because at the time I was trying to work on the booth and I was drawing blanks. I just couldn't get a visual. And all of a sudden, Scott, you produced this, and I'm like, okay, that's it. We'll do it. We'll go with it.
No need to reinvent the wheel when the wheel already exists. We grabbed a sample of a stolen thing on the internet and just used that as our guide. It's the side of the wheel. And then over another lunch hour, I sketched out just the mechanics of how many numbers are there, and what if you had to draw it, what's the degrees, and how big are we going to make it. So we decided, since the foam sheets are 4x8, we do a 6-foot wheel and a 4x8 facade on one of the sides, and away we go. Final product's a little different, but a lot of it really is the same. Then parts lists and prices, because we did have a budget that we had to stick under. My original estimate was about $450, $500. Came close.
Not too much over.
Made some more hot wire tools, because I like making things. These turned out to be just wickedly dangerous. You'll see in one of the videos later. I'm not a real electrician, so unless you get the voltage right, these things get really hot, like Chernobyl hot.
And we saw that. We definitely saw that.
And it was fine. It worked great. I wouldn't do brain surgery with it, but
are these the
ideas? These are the commercial ideas. So,
is fun.
In addition to the set, we had some content to come up with.
And the commercials weren't even part of the original plan. It was more of an afterthought, and we thought we would have. It was just an idea that came out of nowhere, I think, and then it just grew into something much larger.
Sure did.
In fact, too large. We had several ideas that I would love to have gone back and had time to actually record these, but we just had to stop at somewhere.
Oh, and they keep going. Yeah, we had so many fun ideas.
We had several people working on these ideas.
Of course, around a bar. You did end up doing the young and the professional.
Yes, yeah, we tailored it down, but I wanted to get that one in there. That was kind of the one that we had a lot of people on, and I thought they would appreciate seeing something.
So more parts lists, more prices. What is this thing going to cost? Because Stephen and I were working pretty close in the set department, but no one else could see inside our heads. So we tried to tell them, hey, don't worry about it. It's just money. So delivery day, the garage, getting its stuff in there. These would soon become the sets. More finishing work on the hot wire table the day before. A little routing table that we ended up using a bit. And just getting set up for folks. Here's a little video of.
Is this the slow-mo one?
No, this is. Yeah. So it turns out you can use a router on this foam, and it works out pretty well. Good enough for 50 feet away.
Oh my gosh,
from the audience.
Was a great effect, and a very quick one to make too. Yeah, but you can see it there.
Yeah, so we ended up on the first day as a sample, just to make sure that we had enough room for everybody. We threw together the Contestant Podium.
And I want to point out too, we really thought through every part of this show as we were building it, and we actually made little slits on top of those frames to put the contestant cards in with their names on it, because we wanted the contestants to have their names up on stage. We wanted to be as authentic as possible.
So yeah, we routed out a little a cut in the back and a total slot right there to fit the card in. Of course, on the day we had remembered the measurements wrong, but easily fixed. There's another shot of that. It was so successful. And it's all this little detail crap that just makes the difference. I mean, otherwise it's a box, but you start putting these, I think they're called Zots, although the internet does not confirm. And just the trim and the thing, it ends up really looking pretty skookum, as a YouTuber that I watch talks about. So throughout it, we'd be writing down diagrams and stuff on the
constant planning and checking our measurements, and then
making the wrong stage right there. How's this gonna work?
Yeah, we did that because we were trying to figure out, do we really need to build this all three sides? We don't. They're never going to see that third side. So.
Well, you can really tell the difference between my handwriting and your handwriting. This is my handwriting. A couple beers in, I think. Here's a Plinko or a Punch-a-Bunch board.
Yes.
Trying to decide. Oh, and look at this. This is crazy. You sent me this via email. You took the picture. And then you just colorized it.
That's right.
And you had three or four options.
Yeah, we didn't even have a color scheme yet, so we picked a couple of options, threw them in Photoshop, and I colorized it for Scott to kind of look at and see what would work best with.
Nuts, just nuts. So we picked this one because it turned out I had a lot of the paint already. That sand color we used at a house. Arduino work for the wheel. Using addressable LEDs to gauge the speed of the wheel, and then have the lights respond. So
Scott was sharing these, like, as he would be making these and getting to a certain milestone, he'd be sharing these on our channel so we could see his progress. And every time I'm looking at this, I'm like, this was never part of an idea that we were going to do this in the final show, but it was always one of those things that it would be cool to do. I didn't think we would have the ability to pull it off, and sure enough, I'm in awe with what he ended up pulling off. We did.
We got really lucky.
Yeah.
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 I was going to use a LiDAR, like a time of flight sensor. That's a no-touch deal because I wasn't sure the axle would be true enough to put an encoder on it, but sure enough, it works. So 2 Arduinos, one to measure the speed and one to measure the speed and one to control the lights. This is day 1 of the group build. So we have Jeremy and Sarah, you and me.
Cutting the punch-a-bunch tubes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of work.
Yeah, those were interesting because we cut 5-inch tubes because we had nothing bigger, and the tubes were also 5 inches, so they don't actually fit. We actually had to cut the tubes lengthwise and then kind of overlap them.
Yeah, squeeze them in like
Yeah.
like a spring spring of a thingy. Spring clip, that's what I'm talking about. So here's a hot wire table in action. Works just like a table saw or a bandsaw. It just was so successful. The wire breaks every once in a while, so you have to change it. Wow, you can really see us standing around the punch-a-bunch thinking about something.
I think we missed a cut, and we were trying to figure out how to get the frame to work with a missed cut.
Right.
And we did. Oh, there's our Plinko tests.
Yeah,
on the left side.
Pegboard with little wooden sticks.
So it turns out there's kind of an exact science to how the pegs need to be positioned for Plinko to be fun and to work right, and that's what we were testing.
So with all the foam, you got to lay down a layer of latex so you can spray paint over it. If you spray paint directly onto the foam disintegrates in the enamel. So that was the morning, and I think this is now the afternoon. More cutting, more just getting stuff ready. Look at all these pieces. We're going to see a better shot of that later, but so many pieces.
And Sarah jumped on the cutting for most of the day, and I think the next day I ended up doing some, and I'll tell you what, that machine is a blast to work with.
It is. Instant gratification. You slide that thing through and there's no sawdust, and if you mess it up, you just grab another piece. It's like no big deal. It must be lunchtime, dinner time maybe.
You can see the punch-a-bunch sign.
So day 2, or maybe this is after everyone left, doesn't really matter. You can see that we're making progress through this thing. Really spending some time on the Plinko board. Got the design, or they got the peg layout wrong a couple times, and just had to figure it out. So here's the wheel construction. We're taking 2 4x8s. Steven is going to glue them together while I go somewhere.
You had to pick up to go to the hardware store to pick up some extra supplies.
Right. So some dowels and some liquid nails. Liquid nails, really.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Again, we did the tests with different glue and dowel rods, how to piece these boards together so they would stay, and we kind of knew the glue would hold before we were even making these items.
Right. So while that sits overnight, we had a real choice. As you can see, I'm about a beer in now and running out of steam. We'd been going since 8 o'clock.
It was a long day. Yeah.
And this is about 7 o'clock.
9 or 9:30 for me until about 6 or 7.
There goes the sun.
That's right. We glued the pegboard to the foam core or foam board.
Right. And then while the glue is still wet, ran the pegs through, and then laid it out for drying overnight.
Yeah.
Here's some stills. These are from Jeremy's phone. They're live photos. There's a layout that, prior to cut. There's that gorgeous table. Punch a bunch. Some grasshoppers enjoying the freshly painted things. Here's Sarah working away. It's kind of like a cross between a sewing machine and a scroll saw.
Yeah.
Jeremy pounded some nails in the thing. Beautiful day for it.
It turned out to be a great day.
And just more shots of in there. Yeah. So many parts to that thing.
Yeah, labeling it was key. As you can see how you can easily mistake a circle and a triangle or lose it for a scrap piece.
Gosh. So for the sign, there's I think it's Steven? Tracing out projection. There's a really quality video work there of the projector. More shots of Steven doing some cutting on day 2.
This is the Plinko pegs that I'm spray painting, and I figured 2 coats would do it, one from each side, and this is actually a nightmare. It took me like 4 or 5 coats because every time I went back to them, they still had one strip of exposed wood. I couldn't figure it out.
It's hard to get the 360 on them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you were working on that for a while.
More than I should have.
Oh, but they turned out great.
Oh, yeah.
There's liquid nails. Good for all occasions, liquid nails. And there's a close-up of the pegs we used for the...
Yeah, we had to sharpen them because if you just pound them into the foam board, it just compresses it and pushes it right back out.
Right. We put them in at an angle. Boy, that was a long day. What is this? We'll find out. Is this day 2?
This could be the sign. There is a... I know one of these we actually show our progress on building the main Halloween show sign.
Got it. So using the table saw to cut out, not sure what.
The Halloween show sign.
Okay.
This is it.
Well, what do I do? Oh,
yeah, most of my morning was spent cutting.
Oh, I see. We ripped, that was a 4x8 sheet, and we ripped the side to make it even or something.
Well, to reinforce it too, I think we were afraid it was too flimsy.
Yeah.
And we're building the base right now, so when the pucks fall, they actually have to fall into...
Right. So there's just a board with some channels or slots to be at the bottom for the puck to go into. Puck ended up not fitting in them.
But it worked out because they sat right on it. It actually worked out.
There's a mountain climber game. More cutting. Standing around figuring out what we want for lunch. Scott goes get lunch. It's the most important part of the day.
Halloween show.
Yeah.
And in fact, Scott and Jeremy were working on something here in a second, and you'll probably see me. I start...
Oh, you're over here.
Walking... I figured, there it is.
Thing.
I figured out how many frames a second the video shot, and I decided to take a nice slow stroll up the sign.
So while Steven's blobbing out the cloud for the background, we're over here smoothing out letters and stuff, because at the end of this day, I'm going to paint everything. And everything needed to be finished up and paint ready. And again, the stuff is, no one's going to look at it up close. It's just got to be good for... the 50 feet or so people are away. But big bumps and all that. The closer to perfect, the better.
That's right. Yeah, so once we had the Plinko up, we couldn't help but play it over and over again. You'll see us take breaks trying to play it.
Yeah.
I mean, test it. We're just testing it.
Right. We're not at all having any fun. Yeah, there I am carving out the mountain climber, using one of those terribly dangerous things. I ended up just using a belt sander for most of the texturing. The hot wire things were kind of more trouble than they were worth. Cutting some strips for, the big wheel sunburst. Again, using the fence on that hot wire table. Really did the trick. We're starting to run out of space now. We have more and more of the stuff built and taking up more space than just the board.
This is the, we were supposed to knock out the big wheel, cut the full circle out at this point in time, and we did not have the capabilities to, we found out. But it was actually, we came up with a pretty clever way just to make sure that circle was perfectly round, and it worked. And that's I don't know if we have that, but we...
I think what we're seeing now is me getting ready to paint. So here's just that hot wire table in action. It's just so great. It's like magic. It's like a lightsaber. Sorry, get stuff out of the screen. Here's the sign. Not sure what we're looking at, except the you really see some of the imperfections up close, but boy, it looked great. Some dinner, some lunch, some more working on the sign. One of the many hot wire tools.
Tedious, but necessary, and a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Got that on Amazon. Oh, here's that hot wire thing. Look at it. Look at how red hot that is. It was stupid. But I built it, so I had to use it. I was hoping it would be a bit more rigid and, I could have a little bit more positive control over what I was doing. But really, I just used it like a paintbrush. It was a little nuts. So here paint begins. So many pieces. So many pieces. So we used a Wagner power painter and some white house paint. Again, for that initial layer. Tried to cover everything in the garage so it wouldn't get everywhere. But boy, my shoes were destroyed. Opened the garage for a little ventilation. Should have some Benny Hill music right about now.
Yeah, when we were planning all the pieces and all the set design, we didn't really get the idea of how many individual pieces we would be cutting and how many pieces there would be to paint.
I think if we figured it out, we wouldn't have done it.
I know.
And then some more. We belt sanded the sides. Jeremy doing the good work. A little bit more painting. Blah blah blah. We understand how paint works. Everything goes from pink to white. There's a Halloween show sign. There's Mountain Climber in all of its glory. Plinko sign, big wheel, and so on. I mean, even in pink, it looks great.
I know.
Shots. Oh, there are my shoes. It's great. The aftermath. The not a Wagner power painter, but it's I think it was $12 at Harbor Freight. I mean, almost to the point. They're kind of a pain to clean.
Yeah.
You could almost just throw it away. So, set is in progress. We start thinking about the show and figuring out where things are going to be on the stage.
Yeah. We had a couple ideas. This is where we actually started finalizing what elements we really wanted in it, and actually it almost worked out exactly like this. Yeah. I just saw where we're positioned, Matt and Steven off to the side of the stage. We had a PowerPoint projector. We had an idea for a lighting technician with a spotlight and
a
camera in this audience, and
balcony. And
it was all question marks because we didn't know if we had people to cover that or if we were going to do it, and we ended up getting to it.
You guys even sat this way, didn't you?
No, Matt was.
You're
swapped, yeah.
Okay. Well, this is a total failure. But game in the center, contestants, and then some folks on the side. And we had done a show at this venue before, so we kind of knew what was what. So we have the wireless cameras that work over Wi-Fi that talk to OBS, so we could do these remote shots without any wires. And thankfully, we work for a company that has a tremendous infrastructure department, and we got to borrow, about $4,000 worth of wireless equipment, routers and such.
I think that was Scott's idea to come up with those cameras, those wireless cameras. And it was the second you said it, I knew we had to do it. And it just adds that live television studio audience show feel.
100%.
It was great.
We had a contestant camera, and your idea was to do the audience with the little tracers that go around the thing, like The Price is Right.
When they come on down.
So we had to test it, and this is one of the conference rooms that we took over to throw it all together. More Arduino stuff. This is, once you paint it, you have to pick it up and clean it. This is what that process was like. I should have taken oops. Oh, that was the morning you came over. I'm going to back up a little bit. Sorry. So you show up, we clean up, and this is where we do the wheel.
Yes, that's right.
There's the wheel
so
square
we're making
right
space.
There. A little bit of cutting for Mountain Climber.
Oh, no, this is the Plinko sides. So Plinko's kind of naked without the flare pieces that we're testing, and I completely miscut everything the first time around. And I felt so bad, but I ended up cutting right over it, and I didn't cut all the way through, thankfully. But we were worried that it was still kind of flimsy. And I was trying to tell Scott, it's going to work. Well, it has to work. I wasn't going to.
You weren't going to give up.
But we got to work, yeah. It cut it again, and it didn't fall apart.
Yeah, they look great. These sort of oyster shell, I don't even know what you call it, but wings.
Yeah, wings.
Calling
them. Once they were on, and Plinko was my biggest concern because it worked. It was great, but it didn't look like the other games. It wasn't complete. But that's because I didn't see it with the fins on. I don't think I ever saw it with the fins that complete until the morning before when we had that set up. And it looked amazing.
Agreed. And pizza. We had pizza like 3 out of the 4 days. Go with what you know. The order was already saved in the Pizza Hut app. All I had to do was hit go. Feed your people. Rule number 1 of volunteering is feed your people.
Yeah, now we're centering the wheel. This is the...
Yeah, the center flange on the axle.
And it took us a little more time than I thought to glue those pieces, so it's 2 wood pieces sandwiching the foam.
Yeah.
And here's our little mechanism.
Rod in the middle, and you turn it right onto that hot wire table, and you got a circle. Science.
That little bit looked really fast. Didn't feel like it was that fast.
It was not that fast. Then we start laying out the wedges and
we're using
stuff ready for paint again.
Those are the Plinko wing flare pieces.
Oh, on the center table.
On the center table, the pink ones. And then we're labeling. Oh, I'm sticking all of the letters because we want to spray paint them. But they have to sit off the table because otherwise the spray paint under the underside gets wet. It all glues to the table, yes. And so...
That was great. So a half paper clip snapped in half. Worked out great. It was really fun to see these go from white to like all the colors of the rainbow. That was a huge day. More cleanup.
I think there's a couple photos of that coming up too.
Yeah. All right. Only 7,000 more pictures to go in the presentation, ladies and gentlemen. So more cleanup, more trimming, getting stuff moved around. I mean, it's a two-stall garage, and we fit the whole show in there. Just took a little bit of finagling. Oh, this is touch up.
Yeah, we're touching up just so the spray paint doesn't affect it, right?
Yeah. It seemed like there was a lot to do. I think I went, just since I had it all out, I think I hit all of them just in case. It's 2 layers, better than 1. Let's fast forward there. Oh yeah, and started painting out the, this color paint is a paint color that we have in our house. So we got a whole gallon. Worked out fine. Some stills of the wheel. my usual stupid selfie face. Steven doing some tracing.
Yep. I'm just marking a line. I'm using that string method to actually draw the line all the way.
Right. Oh yeah, you marked on the flange and then you just did the string. Yeah, that was smart. More end of day stuff. Here's next day.
I believe I disappear for most of this video because I'm outside spray painting.
Oh, true. Well, you get to see what I was up to. I'm not sure.
Building the frames, I believe.
Oh, right. I had to get the Plinko wooden frame and the table stand for the punch and whatnot. So we'll jump over all this if it's an empty garage. Oh, I think I realized that. And someone's printing to the printer in my house. Spray paint day. Beautiful day for it.
That's a good shot. A lot of colors.
Yeah.
Makes it look so pretty. That's one of my favorite shots.
Oh, yeah?
Just the pure primary colors. Looks pretty.
It does. Here's Plinko stand.
This is all Scott coming up with the design.
Oh, it's all highly engineered. So fun to watch those turn from white to color.
And so this was the Plinko stand, except we were very meticulous on that angle. How tall or the angle that it had to be upright.
Right. So this is 14 degrees, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, ish.
And it was all based on whether or not that puck would fall out.
Right. A delicate balance of getting stuck on one of those pegs and falling out of the... We got so lucky. I mean, we are not professionals at this. We just got so lucky.
It worked perfectly during the show.
Yeah.
When it had to.
More stuff. Table saw, Plinko. There are the wings in some state of almost ready. For size. Only for scale, people. Of course. More colors.
I'm pretty excited how this came out.
A proud father, Steven. Yeah, it does look great. And these colors just popped. Oh, man.
And we did stand them off a little bit to get that dimension, extra
Get the
dimension.
shadow. Just spare bits of foam back there. This is what happens when Scott gets overzealous and really pours on the spray paint. It's totally my fault. This is all my fault. And now I know better. I wanted them really glossy. And I thought, oh, they already have a coat of paint on them.
I ran into the same issues. A couple of them would, I don't know what it was, the undercoat, the underpaint.
If you dust them and give it several coats of dusting, that doesn't happen. But if you get all greedy, then it ruins them. More close-ups of that later. So here's the garage after the day. Like I said, not much room in the garage, so we started encroaching on my wife's kitchen.
Actually, I just something that came into my mind. The Punch a Bunch colors you can see are orange and yellow and some other colors. The orange was actually supposed to be the red, but the Halloween show, which you can see in the letters here, took up exactly all of the paint for the red spray paint.
We were out.
So we were out. I had to use a different color.
Got it. I love it. That orange was really strong. Not sure what we're going to do here. Me eating pizza. Just details. I mean, all the stuff that if I had to go through it again, I couldn't put on a list. Oh, this is me recutting letters, I believe, because it was going to be easier to recut the letters than it was to try to spackle the divots and stuff. But I ended up ruining those too. So I dug the other ones out of the garbage and spackled them, and that was fine. I got all my steps in every one of these days. I got like 10,000 steps just in the garage. Some paint on the wheel. This was a pain. I wish I had spray painted it.
I set up an initial spray paint template, and it was so messy and very difficult to control. And maybe a lot of tape.
So what
what
ended up working really well was the blue tape.
Okay.
Not the green tape. Green tape peels it off. But the blue tape was old enough, had been sitting in my drawer long enough that it was almost worthless, but it did just the job. Oh, more pictures there. There's the mountain climber and getting there. So this was a really nice find. I had learned some time ago that if you bore out the inside of a half-inch pipe or 1-inch pipe, these ABEC bearings fit perfectly inside them. And this, if you watch the video for the however many minutes you've been watching it, if you get one tip, this is the tip. This is brilliant, and it works in all kinds of mechanisms. I had built, this is an owl mechanism that I built a couple years ago. It's an armature for a mechanical owl at a bar. And they're not currently seated in this video, but these bearings end up seating and guiding this the threaded rod for the axle. So take note, it works great.
I would say all along Scott had the idea of how this wheel mechanic was going to work, and I trusted him, and he was confident in telling us it's going to work, it's going to be great, and it was awesome. It absolutely worked.
Again, so glad to be lucky. So glad to be lucky. And it's built on a little bit of experience. Like, for instance, now I know if you pour the enamel paint on this foam, this is what's going to happen to it. These are the letters I ended up having to fix, and I ended up just using plaster and spackle and popping the blisters and scraping it out and just running spackle over the top.
And after they were spray painted, I couldn't notice.
Yeah, they were okay.
When they were hung, sign looked great.
Yeah. Here's a diagram for the big wheel. This is not the front, this is the back. But the design, the actual implementation ended up matching this pretty much exactly. Some pipe, the axle that we saw, the wheel, spacers, and here's building it in all of its glory. Kind of hard to do this with one person because you get the stuff down there and you got to end up leaning stuff against the garage door opener or whatever it is to get it to stand upright.
I would have been here helping you, Scott, but I was in Phoenix.
That's okay. I could have
playing golf.
Could have my daughter down here. It's no big deal. So measure 3 or 4 or 5 times, then cut once. Because I didn't want to have to do this all over again. Didn't have time, so I had to be careful. And a lot of try as you go. Experiment, move, guess. And bolts, because this thing had to fit in a truck. And the truck wasn't, 8x8. I think it might have been 6 feet wide. Anyway, it had to disassemble. So all the while trying not to screw a bunch of screws in, using carriage bolts, and trying to keep the number of carriage bolts required for disassembly down to a minimum. And you see me now color coding it because I had to put it back together, and I like colors. So red goes with red, blue goes with blue.
Smart.
Just spray painting the joints. And then some more work with stuff. There's a finished product with the table stand behind it. There's another shot of the wheel.
I know it doesn't look like much, but once everything's on it, it's great.
Oh, yeah. For the Arduino, I ended up 3D printing a little electronic case. Just because overachieving is good. Here's the first shot of the wheel spinning.
I was ecstatic when you sent us this.
My daughter, somewhat impressed, but also she's just too cool. Those wheel bearings in there, this one actually is starting to work its way out, but this thing would not stop turning. That actually became my concern. It's like, oh my God, it won't stop turning. Hopefully with the flipper flapper thingy, we'll give it some resistance. So, more wheel. There's my first attempt at the speed sensor. This is a little 3D printed mount for the LiDAR. I guess it's not really LiDAR, it's time of flight light sensor. The Arduino's hooked together. Little tiny connectors that you have to crimp on. Here's my schematic. All very technical.
I'm glad you did this part of
More wheel. Axle. Punch a bunch. Hey, look at that.
They come together. So we actually did not assemble the little containers, those carpet tube rolls.
The tubies, yeah.
And the tissue paper until
the morning of, right?
an hour before. It was literally like an hour, 2 hours before.
Because what could go wrong, right?
Right, of course. Always wait till the last second.
And we had to transport it. We couldn't transport it with all that stuff on there. Oh, the Plinko wings.
Those are the wings, yep.
Just clamped on with one spring clamp on each side. Me gluing stuff down with the liquid nails. I thought I was going to have to paint these, but we're going to see a shot in a few minutes of a friend of ours is a 3D printer guy, and he's a member of the makerspace, so he got the vinyl cutter going and cut out the numbers for that.
That probably saved a lot of time.
Oh my gosh, and it looks so much better. There's my electronics workspace. Got a little messy. The big wheel, wow, just popped.
Yeah, I really liked how this turned out.
Fun seeing this stuff with the final paint on it. These are redos that I had to text over to my friend Michael. He took that picture. Oh, and I sent him these crude measurements. It's roughly that big. Here's a couple shots of the lights. Yeah.
It came out great on stage.
Yeah.
You could really see those lights pop.
Two Arduinos. There's the Halloween show sign, the entryway sign. Just looks great. There's my little mountain climber. Looked really good from the audience. This is the back of the wheel. I spray painted the axle so I wouldn't lose it during transport. As well as the bracket, custom-made aluminum bracket. Here's a little rotary encoder that hooks up right to the axle that sends the rotational velocity down to the Arduino, so he can tell the other friend Arduino how fast things are going. There's the dual Arduino unit. The top. I went to Menards and I bought this piece of plastic specifically for this, and I ended up cracking it. I might, just for completion, I might just have to go get another one. Here are the wooden pegs in the wheel. Getting stuff ready. We'll skip right over that. This is our mountain climber guy. And then finally we said, what are the prizes? We got to have
That's right.
prizes.
So we had a day where we just planned out prizes. And unfortunately, so these are the Plinko prizes. The one thing we missed during the show was putting those prizes into the bottom wells of the Plinko game.
So we're going on the show, we're hosting, we're playing the game, and let's look at what we have to win.
Empty.
There's nothing in there.
And Scott, he improvised right on the spot, and we got it filled. As
totally.
if it was
you were
planned.
fast too. I mean, before I knew it, they were there. And
Yeah, well, it was right behind me when you said there was something over there. I looked, and sure enough, I'm the one who's like practically
and
standing
you
on
knew
them.
where stuff needed to go.
That's the other thing. It was probably better that I put them up there.
Yeah. So mountain climber prizes, penicillin bunch, apparently based on my handwriting.
That's right. Did we change the name?
Here's one of the vinyl letters. Isn't that great?
This came out so awesome. I'm
And
glad Mike did that.
Yeah, and here's the original trace underneath. I thought, I could paint over that and clean it up.
Couldn't see it.
Didn't even bother. Here's some more wheel parts. This is the clicker facade. Here's the hubcap for the wheel. home base. And what am I doing here?
Are you disassembling everything?
Oh, this is Michael. Came over.
Oh, you're assembling. You're putting Plinko on. Look at that.
Yeah. So I gave him the liquid nail gun and some IPA beer. Is that redundant? No, it's IPA beer, right?
That's right.
And he was very grateful to keep my momentum up because this is like Tuesday before the Friday show, the Thursday load in. So we those are all those black things are the vinyl letters that are cut out, but we still have to peel them off. So we peel them off and we stick them on the wheel.
That's much quicker than painting those by hand.
Oh my gosh, and it just looks so sharp.
When I left the day after we had traced all the numbers on that board, I didn't want to even think who was going to have to spend all that time painting it. So when he came up with a solution, that was ingenious.
Yeah, that was great. And he was so willing with his time.
That's great,
It
yeah.
was really nice. This is the day before the load-in. Here are all the things getting ready to transport. There's that wheel.
And if you actually go back to the wheel really quick,
Yeah.
the one thing that I was a little worried, and I actually had this idea literally too late in the game to mention it, but the middle of the wheel is a big square, and when you put it into the mechanism to spin it, the square shows through. So it kind of, it's not really that big of a deal, but for someone who's a perfectionist, but Scott had that already planned out.
It was bugging me just the same way. It's like, everything else about this is so great, but this thing in the middle looks like shit.
Yep. And we got a cap on top of it, and it looked great.
Yeah. So this is me thinking about how it's going to load into the truck without getting destroyed. Some of the glue was giving me grief, so I re-glued it. Ended up not gluing again. Turns out, with the foam, if the edge of the glue dries, it creates a bubble of not dry glue in the middle, like a little ketchup packet of glue. And it's not very sturdy when it's still liquid. So, lessons learned.
You can see the edges, the corner pieces. So Plinko, we found out that the pieces fall right off the edge of the board, so we put corner pieces.
Yeah, they look great too.
Which did help with the aesthetic.
So this is a 3D flange that I printed for. Oh wait, I want to show. I'm really proud of this because we have a umbrella stand that's our wheel clicker base, and it didn't fit. So wham bam, thank you ma'am, thank you printer. I printed a flange for it. Here's my color coding. Red goes with red, blue goes with blue. Green goes with green, yellow goes with yellow.
I never asked what that color was for, but
there you go.
Now we know.
And these little red dots were telling me where these shipping bolts were. A couple of red marks yellow marks for the screws. Here we are loading into the truck. Survived really well. Plinko being the heaviest on the bottom, and then we ended up strapping in the guys on the side. It worked out great. We got it loaded into the venue. I think I brought my whole garage in terms of tools.
Which is smart because we probably needed random stuff that you fortunately had.
4 random things that, I have that.
And so Scott's setting this up, and this is the day before.
Thursday, yeah.
I wanted to get over to this facility so I could actually do some video testing because I was controlling the video work. Hadn't seen any of this put together at all.
We hadn't really seen Plinko work. I didn't even test it after I built the frame. I just thought
Yeah.
we'd shim it one way or another. And it turns out, I think the first run that I did, it worked great. It went straight down. And then one of the runs did that. But I thought, oh no, oh no, fluke. It's a fluke. Let's do it again. It'll work this time. It'll surely work this time. Oh no, it didn't work.
And so Scott mentioned that to me, and I was worried because when we were testing it originally, that was the biggest issue we were having, is that it was, I didn't realize it happened 3 times.
Stopped right there.
It would always get stuck, and we thought we had solved that problem with, especially with these plastic discs being so, being able to bounce so much.
Right.
But yeah, during the show.
I immediately started writing comedy for it. And then, yeah, it stopped
Wow.
again. I know, I was so worried.
Wow.
And I said, okay, we're out of time. If it does that during the show, it's going to do that during the show. We'll figure it out. And it didn't happen once.
It was like it was meant to be.
Yeah. Those side pieces worked out so great.
Yeah, so you can see the wings are on Plinko now, and I remember coming to the building that Thursday afternoon, seeing this everything on stage. It was just so impressive. I made it down.
Yeah, I think that's the one I sent to everybody.
Yeah. I'm glad you did, because I would have been worried.
Yeah. You got enough to worry about. We don't need to worry
that's
about
the shot I remember.
Yeah. It's just so grand. And the wheel. And, of course, this is stage work lights. When we get to the show, we have proper theatrical lights and stuff. But, yeah, this is when I realized we have a lot of crap on the stage.
Yes. And early on, actually, I was sitting there wondering how to plan for the stage. I wanted more stuff because I didn't think the games were going to be it. But I'm of course, we ran out of time to even consider that. But once everything was on stage, it really was the setting. It was the design.
It filled it up. Mm-hmm. So I hadn't built the clicker yet. I ran a prototype the night before, and I thought, oh, geez, we're just going to figure it out. If I have to stand there with a playing card going flap, flap, flap like a kid with a bicycle spoke, fine, whatever. We're out of time. But I ran over to Menards, bought some things, have an old spring, and there's my flange that fits into the old donated umbrella stand. This is what happens when I wear a shirt that's too small for a middle-aged guy. But just showing the amount of stuff we had on the stage, it ended up being kind of a challenge to fit it all. It was nuts. And I love the way this wheel clicker just floats in midair. It was so successful. People start showing up, stagehands. We're starting to figure out. We're putting the little tubes on the back,
Yes.
right? All the little
Yes.
fit and finish.
Yep.
God, we had 6 or so people, and we needed all of them.
Absolutely.
It was like an actual production.
Yeah, they're all putting on the tacky.
Oh, the poster putty.
Yep. To put the tissue paper over top of that.
All right. Fixing some problem, I'm sure. That table was all the stuff that I brought in.
Yeah, so when it was all put up, the wheel was not balanced.
Wasn't balanced yet.
So no, if you got to a certain couple of numbers on one side, it would always rotate all the way around to 35 and it would stay there. So half of your rolls would land on 35.
Right. So what was your solution for that?
Duct tape and bolts just to the back.
Okay.
I just duct tape. Actually, it was a little bit of an elaborate process to make sure I found the exact spot it was off center.
Yeah.
But I found it.
Yeah.
Put the couple duct tapes, I think 3 different bolts duct taped to the sides on the ends, and
that was scientifically true by the time it was done.
I had
it rolled so great.
What do you call it? I didn't think it was going to work, but it didn't take that much time and it was balanced.
Yeah.
I was so thankful it worked out.
Again, getting lucky.
Yep.
So many times getting lucky. This is a hanger for our entryway sign that we'll see a little bit. It's just aluminum, The thing, here's a shot from the stage. Pretty big room. Really a great venue. They do concerts and stuff.
There's a balcony. Yep. I say so. This is a shot from the balcony, but this is where we had the spotlight.
Right. And there's a couple screens on the side. Sorry, this is looping. Can't stop it.
Yeah. So yeah, the screens are where we ended up showing the commercials during our transitions between games.
There's a shot of the entryway sign. It looks great, just hanging there. And I took a work light. I don't know if I have a shot of it or not, but took one of the LED sort of garage work lights, put one of those cardboard tubes on it like a snoot, and we just create a little spotlight right on that sign. Worked great. This is the beginning of the party. Just great ambiance there.
I love the color.
Yeah. Oh, this is like during the show. So here's
That's right. Okay, that's the first.
This first game. There's a little iPhone on a stand that's running NDI cam that goes wireless into the OBS studio. So a little contestant camera. Here's our little PowerPoint quiz rear projector, which is actually just 4 pieces of PVC pipe and a PVC shower curtain from Amazon. Total material cost like, I don't know, $18. And you can't rent a 6x9 rear projection screen for $18.
No, I mean, we did a lot of things on the cheap, and we did it well.
Yeah. Loved it. Here's a little video of the actual show, I think.
See the dazzle lights going.
Yeah. We had a lighting
Spotlight.
director at the venue that was really just
Maddie's making an
so
appearance.
quick. Here's a little audience cam up there.
Yes, there it goes. I'm glad we got that. That really, kind of really made it feel like a game show. Like
Yeah.
Price is Right.
And the spotlight, too. We added that this year. And it's just, when it does that sort of dazzle sweep, the Hollywood sweep, the energy in the room just,
Yes.
went up. It's great. And the music and everything just kind of worked out. And if it didn't work out, it ended up being funny.
That's right.
So zip through some of this.
I remember.
It's funny when the quiz projector has a black screen. It's not really black. It actually is still casting a bit of a shadow. So there's a guy standing back there waiting for
in his
the next
costume.
game. Yep.
And this is actually during the last commercial.
Right. We'll skip some of the video, but this is a shot of the
You can
wheel.
hear the wheel beep, and this is how we did it.
Guy wrote a program the night before. Our friend Matt wrote a little basic program to play that beep every time he hit the key. One of the options would have been to put a little reed switch on the clicker deal and then hook that up to Arduino and then run the Arduino audio to the main house speakers through the mixer. Or we just have Matt hit a button with the program he wrote. Let's watch that one more time.
It worked out so well.
And he was on it too.
Yeah, he was. And it's funny, so I'm standing next to him. I'm taking the video. I'm doing I'm working on the video controls. I have nothing to do right now, so I'm taking video of this sequence happening. And Matt was telling me that every time someone would spin, they would stand in front of the clicker. So you can see this is our view. We only have a little bit of a window to see if that next peg is coming down. And when someone stands and moves
there,
just to the left, he can't see it. I can see it, but he can't see it.
That's so funny.
Yep. So he was just guessing for a while. A few people moved.
Big room, lots of people.
This is great.
And costume contest winners, more costume contest winners. Since they don't have their permission, we'll just flip by them really fast. And get to the end here. It was a real success. Here's a hero shot.
That's awesome.
That thing just floating in the air. So great.
Just picks up that light, that orange.
Yeah. And there's my headshot for the next couple of years. Right there.
Great stage light, stage colors.
Yeah, blue and red, man. Nothing better. This is the day before after hanging the photo in all the regale. Gosh, those TVs look great.
That was a last second ad too. We had a lot of last second ads that just came together. The last commercial, the third commercial was literally the week of, I think finished on Wednesday.
Yeah, and produced out of necessity because it was the simplest thing we could do.
That's right.
And it ended up being one of the funniest things we could do.
It was perfect.
Instead of being all elaborate with like different locations and stuff, no, we're just going to do this one thing and we're going to make it last a minute and a half. And this is what you get. And people loved it.
And it was beautiful. And simple worked.
Yeah.
Absolutely worked.
I want to talk about this some more. So in the venue, there are 2 large screens on each side. And during the social time, I call it, you had this this effect wherein it looked like an old style TV, and you played vintage, I'm sure public domain commercials
Let's call it that.
in it. Yeah, with no audio, and we played BMI ASCAP covered music during the social time, thanks to the venue, and it just looked so sharp with the stage, and I can't thank you enough for that.
Yeah. It's those small things though that, I mean, I know we had this in mind to do something like this the entire time, and I know we were running out of time, but when you add just these small elements, they provide such an impact to the ambience, to the experience. I wanted it to be up there too, just as bad.
I mean, you really have 3 options. 1, they can notice it's not there. 2, they could not notice it's there.
Yes.
Or 3, they can notice it's there and think it's just really something.
Yeah, and then they're that much involved in the experience.
So even the people that didn't notice it, I think were impacted by it. That's just good. Oh, so happy.
Yeah, and we even kind of did a riff on this for the intro. When the game show starts, it actually cuts to like a channel changing effect, and it goes to several different mini clips of as if the channel's being changed, where it finally lands on our show opener, and we have a little video clip of the show opener.
Yeah. This after the show, we invited folks to come up and spin this because we spent that much time on it. We wanted people to play with it.
Oh, people were asking to come up, play Plinko and spin the wheel.
Yeah. And it was a lot more sturdy than I let on. I think it could have survived a bit more abuse.
You did have a bit during the show where you were trying to explain not to overspin it,
right?
But don't necessarily underspin it. You know, you made a little joke about sending mixed signals. It was hilarious on the spot. It felt great.
Yeah.
But I did want to see it get spun hard once, and I think everybody
never would have stopped.
Yeah. Well, that's true. It would have gone on for 4 minutes.
Would have had to fill for 4 minutes while it stopped. This is a great example of what matters in the front. See how great that looks. That contestant podium, you know, just stunning and beautiful, and the little name tags in there. But if you go around behind it, it's all unfinished. You still see the Formular, the Owens Corning Pink Panther back there logo. So good. Oh.
Actually, can you go back?
Yeah.
So we're talking about we talked about small little things that made the show that much better. We gave everybody name tags to put on the show, and you can see in the middle, the girl in the middle, in fact, it's actually Jeremy and Maddie in the middle. I don't know if I understand their names or not, but they have those Price is Right name tags. We went all out. We wanted to make everyone feel like they were a part of a game show. Right. It's those small things that really carry that experience.
There's one.
I'm on my phone.
I don't. Oh, there's Maddie.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't actually remember getting one. I don't need one, but
you're the host. You don't have to.
That's true. One. Everyone knows Ross ratio. And then I did. We won't watch it. I think this is a short version. Yeah, it didn't. I think it cut off. No big deal. And here's a little walk around at Plinko. I don't think it'll ever see the light of day. Actually, this video.
Yeah. Except for now.
Except for now. I was so tired. Right. So then we just recap. There's a great little shot of the name tags, and the day after, no one ever thinks about. Here's me sorting through all my stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think about this part.
It took a whole day.
Oh man.
Just to this little thing goes over here, because it's like going to a grocery store, filling these bins with I think I might need this and this and this and this, and I need some of this. Well, you get home with these 5 or 6 bins of miscellaneous crap. It's all got to go back where it belongs, and it's got to be labeled and so.
Yeah, it's all the stuff unseen.
And as I went through there, I took pictures of all the little shopping lists and notes and stuff. And here's my workbench that is slowly being reclaimed even as we speak. And there are the toothpicks.
Yes, held up most of our foam.
Aren't they pretty? That's so great. So pretty. And I think that's the end. Oh, yep, that's the end. And that's the show.
It was great. A lot of fun.
Nice work.
Thank you. It was awesome.
Thank you, Stephen. We'll not do it again next week.
I know.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.